Hey guys, this is Grandmaster Eugene Perelshteyn, and we're going to be covering here how to face the Gotham chess recommendation of King's Indian attack and setups for white and for black. First, let's cover it from the black side when our opponent plays knight f3, going for the simple g3 bishop g2 fianchetto plan. Here, I will recommend to you two well-known and safe setups for black. The first setup I'm going to recommend to you is based on pure symmetry. We're going to play first c5, kind of like Sicilian, and then basically repeat this fianchetto. Whatever he's doing, we're doing as well. And then we're going to play knight c6. The point of this setup is we're waiting for white to commit to either the c4, the symmetrical English plan, or eventually the e4 plan. Usually they start with d3. We're going to play d6. This is called the dragon formation. A very flexible approach and a very strong one indeed. If they go for the e4, this is not as powerful for white when the black bishop is on g7. Very difficult for him to attack. We're going to play knight f6, knight bd2 castles. Again, this is the King's Indian attack formation, not going to be working as well against the fianchetto because he doesn't really have any attack going. The f pawn is now blocked by his own knight. And if he plays rook e1, we're going to do the so-called queenside expansion. His attack is nowhere to be seen. Even if he does all of these moves, again, this is only really working if black puts pawn on e6. We're not going to do that. We're going to play, of course, b4, a5, a4, expand. There's absolutely no attack anywhere to be seen. We are perfectly safe here. Okay, again, our plan is to control the key central squares and start swinging the pawns on the other side. Now, white could be a little bit sneaky here and not play e4. I don't know, let's say white plays some kind of c3 move. Okay, we're simply going to play knight f6, castle, and eventually rook b8, b4, b5. Very difficult indeed for white to generate any attack against our king. So this is based on the dragon formation, based on the fact that black is happy to see Sicilian defense, and this is my recommendation for you. Now, the secondary plan is you can play this move d5, create this wall of pawns against the bishop, and we're going to do what is called the triangle, with knight going here, bishop going there, create a little loft or escape square for the bishop, and we are completing this triangle, and the bishop is happily coming to h7. Typically, they will try to make e4 work with queen e1. We're not really too worried about moves like that because after e4, we've got ourselves a pretty safe square. As a matter of fact, you could play unusual move bishop c5 as early as here with a clear understanding that this bishop is well placed and the e5 pawn push is not going to accomplish a whole lot for your opponent as long as the bishop controls the key e4 square. You can play knight d5 and happily trade into this position. The solidity of your structure reminds me of the Caro-Kann and this strong bishop on c5, and this bishop is somewhat passive behind the knight and the queen, and the knight on d5 gives black a really solid play here. So this is one way to play. Of course, you don't have to even commit to this plan at all. You can maybe start with bishop h7, and after e4, maybe you get to take now. Maybe you can even play bishop e7, because the key about these positions, even when the pawn is on e5, it's really not that easy for him to generate any attack against the king. We're going to play in the style of the Caro-Kann and the French, c5, knight c6, hit that pawn, and the problem is this knight is really misplaced because it's not going to get to f3 or f1 or anywhere where it can activate the bishop and be useful. So these two plans are extremely solid, um, completely different, I would say. One is based on the triangle and this building the light square wall with f7, e6, d5, c6, d7, as I showed you earlier against the setup. It's a very simple idea. We finish the completeness of this wall and making this bishop immobile. This is called the reti, as a matter of fact, with this knight f3, g3. And typically, white tries to do this double fianchetto. We can play knight d7, right? We can play bishop d6. Some people put the bishop on e7, which is completely fine as well. And the point is, queen's gonna go here, king can be happily castling, and you can do this a5, a4 pawn storm in the right moment. Again, black is quite happy. Lots of play left. So any questions so far about how black meets the various King's Indian attack formations?
So one thing is about the c5 approach that we talked about earlier.
Okay, let me go back.
Yeah. So
Yep.
the c5 approach earlier. So there's also like if you go to the g6 line with a this is set up that I see that maybe that black can try to do some c3 d4 things and not do e4.
Ah, yes. So the idea is to try to fight for the center. So maybe they start with e4.
Yeah, maybe for
They wait for d6.
Yeah.
And now they play c3.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is instead of setting up this King's Indian attack formation, they want to win the center, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here you have two approaches. One is stop the d4 once and for all with this e5 push. The only drawback is the d5 square is slightly weakened. The knight will have to make a pretty long journey to get there, and by the time he gets there, we're going to trade it off with the knight on e7. So this is the simple approach. The other approach is indirect approach by putting pressure on this knight. Now it's going to be very difficult to play for d4 because of this pin. And if he plays h3 at any point, here or later, you're going to just snap, snap, and then knight f6, d4. A little bit risky approach. Why? Because now you have an additional factor. His defender on f3 is gone. So we can take knight d7, attacking the pawn. If he advances, we're actually quite happy. We can establish a monster knight on d4. So that's one possibility. And if he plays bishop e3, one of the drawbacks of his setup is this diagonal is now weakened. So we have several options how to go around this. If we start with queen b6 right away, I think he does have this tactical refutation because our knight is hit with the tempo. So we actually can't make this work. So perhaps we need to be a little bit smart. Maybe instead of knight d7, start with queen b6 first. And if he goes here, that's bad news. He's going to lose this key pawn. And it's not that easy to protect the d pawn if you think about it. If he plays d5, we already talked about this setup. We have this knight d4 as an option. And if bishop e3, we can take with check and grab this key pawn on b2. And if he moves the bishop back from, let's say, f3, we can always back our knight up. And again, the combo of the queen, knight, bishop is a little annoying for him. We're going to castle later and just develop naturally. So this is called the piece play approach, using the bishop by indirectly stopping d4 with this bishop g4, or the kind of stop it once and for all approach with e5, followed by knight g7, castles h6, and playing for f5 yourself. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
All right, so now let's flip the board and let's talk a little bit about this approach if we were to play e4. And he's going for this g6, bishop g7, d6, c6. This is Levy's favorite setup. Why? Because he gets to make all of these moves in less than 1 second using pre-moves, right? And this is a very powerful blitz weapon But honestly, giving up the center can't be that great. So this is the modern or the perk if you were to play d6, knight f6. Very similar ideas. I would recommend to play knight c3. You can start with h3 just to not worry about this g4 square. Bishop e3, castles, knight f3, c6. More or less with various move orders, black will reach this position. Now, it is very important to remember a6 and c6 are aimed to expand. Our point is to restrict the expansion. h3 restricts the knight and the bishop. a4 restricts this pawn. And after knight d7, we grab even more space with a5. This is a well-known position where black is not getting any fun at all. He can't really attack us. Moreover, if he gets to activate this pawn to at least open up the bishop, we're going to seal that bishop by pawn takes. If knight takes, pawn takes, we're quite happy here. We can go into the endgame or play bishop c4 first. In both cases, white is clearly better. Or if black keeps the knights on the board, again, we're going to play either bishop c4 or queen d6 with very annoying kind of clamp on black's position. He doesn't have any counterplay at all. So this is one way to do it. Or you can start with queen d6 right away. Again, very annoying position to play. Any questions about this so far?
No, that's all good.
Yep, so this is a very easy thematic plan against these modern and perk setups. Basically, whenever you see the pawn coming to e5, you always trade it off. You keep the pawns on h3, a4 to stop him from getting counterplay, and the position is already better for white.
Hey, check this video out to make sure that you get more important information to bring your chess to the next level.